and I'll have to throw to first base, and he'll bounce it, or he'll throw it over his head. It's
okay.
It's like what's happening there? Yeah, what's happening there? It's an odd kind of thing. But Lucas Duda, it's almost like he should hand the ball to someone else to throw the ball home.
It could be the only time he threw the ball the whole year.
That's right.
You still need to know how to throw the ball.
That's exactly right. They should. And the play in the World Series wasn't his fault. It wasn't his. He added to it and he aided it totally. You betted it. But he just can't throw. He just cannot. And teams know that. It's in the scouting report. You know, when you get the opportunity, and the opportunities are few and far between to run on a first baseman. But when you get the opportunity, you run on Lucas Duda.
Or you hit the ball to the right side.
You know, what was really weird is watching, who did the Mets play? Oh, the Giants. The Giants don't do the shift. You know, because they've had success. Bruce Bochy is a great manager. They don't do the shift. So Lucas Duda and Jay Bruce were getting hits on the right side, because the shift wasn't on. Meanwhile, those become outs every time. Like Granderson is always grounding out into the shift. It just happens, and you really shouldn't change your swing because you've been swinging your whole life. Just keep it up. Just because they're doing a shift on you, keep on hitting unless you want to bunt, which I love when they bunt to break the shift.
Since you brought his name up, how did Curtis Granderson, which his bat is obviously always has been on and off, how did he get away with playing outfield all these years? He really has one of the worst arms.
He's got a noodle arm. He's got a Chad Pennington arm.
Yeah, how he played outfield his whole career.
And right now he's got a giant fork sticking out of his back because he's done.
Yeah.
He's just. And it's funny because I'm thinking of I don't have any favorite players in baseball anymore, but if I had to have favorite players, he'd be there. I think that guy is just a walking saint. The charity work he does and everything he works.
If you ever watch I went to a few games. He doesn't stand still.
Yeah, and he doesn't stand still. And his parents were teachers, and he gives so much money to education. And he succeeded with the Yankees, and he succeeded with the Mets.
And he's not married?
I think he is.
Yeah, I think he is.
I think he's married with kids. Yeah, but he. I mean, he succeeded with the Yankees, and he succeeded with the Mets. I mean, now he's just playing out the rest of his career, but he succeeded in these parts. I mean, he's been he doesn't owe the New York teams anything. He earned his money, and I still think, because he's done after this year, I still think he still has a good second half to come out. He's very streaky, so I think he's got a good second half to come out with. But with that arm, right field, center field, he doesn't have. There are ways to compensate, quick release, coming up on the ball, coming up throwing, things like that. But he's now he's 30, the wrong side of 35, really.
As a Mets fan, I just really because despite everything that's going on, I like watching Conforto play. I just feel offensively and defensively. In certain sports, and baseball's not one of them, but in certain sports, like hockey generally is can't miss kids, like guys who can't miss out of high school and out of college. Conforto was one of those can't miss. Every team wanted him in the draft. I mean, he was going to be a great player. And now they bat him leadoff because he's the only one hitting. Yeah. And you got to give him at bats. But, what position does he play? Center field.
Is he a center fielder? I mean, I don't. It's but that's the problem when you have Cespedes on this team. It's like
Cespedes should be in the left. I think that's his better, and I think Conforto should be in the middle.
And and are you going to get Conforto hurt if he plays center field? And they've got Lagares, who's a fourth outfielder.
Yeah, his defensive is great, but his offense doesn't match for him to be on the field every day.
And I do love, now Cabrera's on the DL, and it's so hard getting used to a 10-day DL. It's always been a 15-day DL. Now it's like he's on the 10-day DL. What's the 10-day DL?
So that's not really an injury, is it?
Yeah.
But
I like Cabrera's. Cabrera is a professional. I really like the way Cabrera plays, and but now he's hurt. Yeah. And I love Neil Walker, but I like
the Mets team. They're not together.
The offense was there this week.
Yeah,
I love when Matt Harvey's up there and he's like, "Oh, I did pretty well." It's
like just need to go to New York.
It's like, weren't you the Dark Knight? Weren't you the All-Star starter? Weren't you all these things? And now you're happy to be content to be doing what you're doing. Okay. I understand it. That's okay.
Do you think the Mets? Well, obviously the Mets, I don't feel like even want Matt Harvey anymore. But do you think that he might go and then Zach Wheeler is going to eventually take that third spot? He's been pitching good.
He has. I watched Zach Wheeler and I'm thinking, what, this guy goes all out for like one inning. I think he should be a closer when I see Zach Wheeler because
that's not a bad idea.
He's having tough times like 5-6 innings. So it's like let him go all out, but then like Howie Rose was talking about how in the first inning Zach Wheeler's not so good. Meanwhile, I've been watching the two games I've seen Zach Wheeler. He's been lights out in the first. He's struck out the side in the first inning. Yeah. So I'm like, the thing I watched about him though, because he walks off the field and he's looking at the the radar on the screen. I'm like, oh, there's your problem. Yeah. That's the problem. Why there's so many injuries with young pitchers? Because they watch the guns. It's all about the velocity.
Is he a net negative too?
Oh. I just want to know that the man is name's Zach Wheeler. How does he not wear 18 as his number? When it should be 18 Wheeler, right? I mean, that should be that should be what it should be.
Just like how Paul George, it was smart for him to change his number to 13. That's a good.
So you know who gave him that advice, right? Bill Simmons.
Why 13?
PG-13.
Oh. Yeah.
I always like there was a baseball player named Carlos May in the 70s, and he was on the White Sox at the time. So his last name was May, and his number was 5. His birthday was May 5th.
Yeah.
So he's the only baseball player ever to wear his birthday on the back of his shirt, which is so cool. It's like,
there's been Asian players named Who.
Who?
Yeah. And you know where they've been?
What?
On first.
Right. I don't know.
Seriously.
I don't know. Third base.
Yeah.
That is a comedy sketch which still stands up, and it's in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Abbott Costello, Who's on first?
Who's on first?
It's it's still funny. And there's a lot of things that haven't, but it's still funny.
The Rays have a guy who
that's a poem or a story or something.
It was a comedy sketch, like
skit.
Skit. Yeah.
2 kids in my class in my oral interpretation class performed that at the end of the semester. Yeah,
I mean, and that's all memorization. That's not easy. I mean, that's tough.
They performed that. It was pretty funny. It was the first time I heard
whose wife picks up his check? Naturally, whose it was like whose wife picks up?
That's like the episode of SpongeBob when they asked what his name is. Like, what's it to you?
See, that's the people have tried to mimic it and to like write exactly to have like a what's it to you kind of thing, and it's like it was just perfectly written, and that's why it's in. If you go to the Baseball Hall of Fame, it's right there.
And speaking of baseball funnies, guess who photobombed
George W. Bush, right?
He photobombed a video called. He's been like the classic guy this year. He was great at the inauguration
because he's not that guy.
Yeah,
he's no longer. It's like it's like Dave Chappelle said. It's like, you know what, George W., come back. We miss you. It's that's.
He looks like a genius now.
That's exactly right. That's the all of a sudden people are he's like, hey, I'm not that guy.
You know what's funny is that he likes the Rangers.
Well, he was an owner.
Yeah, he was the owner.
Rangers.
His father likes the Astros.
Yep.
And his brother's going to buy the Marlins.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the things when they did the Jeter retirement number ceremony. They had a video from Don Mattingly, and it was very funny because Mattingly's the manager of the Marlins, right? Mm-hmm. So Jeter could be his boss. I mean, essentially, as if what's going to happen there. So of course Mattingly gave a video. It's like,
I wonder. This is off topic, but about Mattingly, I wonder what's going through his mind now that he knows that Jose Fernandez was drugs.
Well, I think they all know. You would know. You would know if you're friends.
So maybe he knew from the beginning that he was on drugs, and that because remember he arrested him that day.
Right. Well, he knew that he. Yeah, well, I mean, he knew that he was a nightlife guy. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if he knew the cocaine.
Because they want to give him one more day
because he was functional. Yeah. Yeah, well, he said he was giving. What was the extra day they were giving him for? There was a reason for it.
Because the other guy was coming back.
Yeah, but it could have been. Yeah, no, it's it's one of those things where everyone was in such a rush to, and by all accounts, he was a great guy. Jose Fernandez was just a legendarily great guy, and like just the story. All I know is the character of a man when he tried coming over to the States 3 times I think it was, and one of those times he sees a woman out in the water drowning, and without thinking he dives in to save her, only to find out it's his mother. He didn't know. Imagine that if he had done nothing. Number one, imagine if he had done nothing. Yeah. Number two, what does it say that this is a guy who jumps in to save a woman not knowing it's his mother? So it didn't matter who it was. He was jumping in to save. Anyway. So, I mean, that's...
Somebody take care of you if you do a good thing.
It's exactly... And so it's, it's strange.
Somebody's watching.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that story gives me the chills when I hear that.
Yeah,
it's like, so he could have chosen just to watch this woman drown, and then imagine if he found out that who it was. Oh my God, he did the right thing, no matter what.
He's the one of many that when they come to America, they want to stay, unlike the one child.
Well, Eliana had no choice; he was sent back. 516-572-7440. 572-7440. If that's the number to call, we'd love to know what's on your mind. Give us a call here, 516-572-7440.
Did you see the Aaron Judge Yankee thing on Tonight Show?
Where people not recognizing him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the Tonight Show, Jimmy Fallon is in this sea of... Like, Stephen Colbert's ratings are going through the roof now because in the scene of just being angry politically, Jimmy Fallon's always been the cutesy, funny stuff, like sketches, some singing, things like that, and he's losing. So whatever he can do to become viral with, he doesn't do carpool karaoke. He had success when he had him and the Roots doing like songs on children's instruments, like Mariah Carey and the like. But Jimmy Fallon's got to do whatever he's got to do to make himself popular again.
It's just funny. You get the old, I think she might have been Jewish lady coming. Oh, you're Aaron Judge?
Who was it? They did some met a few years ago, too, in terms of
was it
in
Noah
Bryant
Syndergaard?
Park. Was it Noah Syndergaard?
Or Matt Harvey?
I think it was Matt Harvey in Bryant Park a little back, yeah. So how about now you're looking at, do you make anything? Jerry Krasnick on ESPN.com has an article today, and it's getting a lot of talk out there, former guest of the show, Jerry Krasnick, about the Mets staff, and he's saying that Alderson has to hire a go-between who could talk to the medical staff and really find out what's going on. He was saying that, they had in the offseason, you had Syndergaard going and saying, I'm going to work out like never before, I'm going to get extra strong. You had Cespedes saying that as well, and now you got Noah out with a lat, and you got Cespedes with chronic hamstring problems.
Which I feel like he had that since he'd been a Met.
Right.
Like a hamstring.
So is it one of those things like no one's talking to these guys and saying like, guys, don't get hurt? You're talking soft tissue damage. We're not talking. So Freddie Freeman got his hand broken last night, right? That's like a pitch.
8 weeks.
That's a pitch.
Yeah.
That's not something he's doing. That's the ball hits him. Ball thrown at him and hits him. But I know. But then on the flip side, studies have shown that injuries, when they're talking about like pitchers, young pitchers get hurt more than older pitchers, and hard-throwing pitchers get hurt more than softer-throwing pitchers. Well, Noah Syndergaard is a hard-throwing young pitcher.
And Cologne is still in the MLB.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Matt Harvey, hard-throwing young pitcher. Zach Wheeler, hard-throwing young pitcher.
So you're saying
Steven
about
Matz,
3 years from now about Tanaka.
Yeah, well, Tanaka is the craziest thing where the guy's arm is literally hanging by a string. They said they weren't going to do Tommy surgery. The doctor said no, he doesn't. He could do no further damage if he doesn't have Tommy John surgery. And the Yankees are like, we don't want to lose him. Let's just have him. Now his contract's up. They literally have used him up, and they'll spit him out when the season's over.
So he's like Sheriff Woody in Toy Story 2.
Exactly. Only there's no Andy. That's exactly. They're using him, and they'll chew him up and they'll spit him out.
This is what season for Bartolo Colon? 21st season?
Well, it was funny because I just read something last week where they were talking back to when Bartolo Colon faced what old was it Ichiro? What are they talking about in terms of who's the oldest hitter still in the game? I think it's Ichiro, and they were dating back to when these guys first faced each other. So I guess Ichiro's first year in the majors was the year that A-Rod had left, I thought. Was that what his first year was? A-Rod had left, or Griffey had left? It was one of those where
Bartolo?
Ichiro with the Mariners. His first season. Was it 01?
Yeah, I don't think Griffey originally, because remember Griffey came back to the Mariners.
Right. So that was that year they won like the crazy amount of games.
Because remember, they got him to the Reds, and the Reds built that stadium for Ken Griffey Jr.
There was a great quote when the Reds wanted to acquire Griffey, and the Reds were balking at Pokey Reese being included in the deal, and the GM of the Mariners goes, "Don't let Pokey Reese be the reason you don't acquire Ken Griffey." Meaning, you'll be hung forever. The reason you didn't take Ken Griffey was because of Pokey Reese, who's got a funny name. Griffey as a Red. That was the end of him, right? That was.
Well, he kind of got hurt. It wasn't really his fault.
Yeah, that's why they always point to that he wasn't on steroids because he got hurt. His body logically and naturally broke down like an older person, like a 37-year-old baseball player. It used to break down before the PED era.
When he first got there, they were playing at Riverfront Stadium.
Yeah, it was on turf.
He was doing great. He always played on turf then.
Yeah, obviously.
But that's weird because usually turf could actually wear you down quicker because you're not running on real surface.
That's right. 516-572-7440. 516.
And you might be the expert. You're that coach, dad, whatever. And so
Coach Dad, new on Fox. You kid, what you doing today?
No, because this is the kid's safety with sport. Because when I played, everything was on grass.
Oh yeah.
So my theory is turf bad for you because it has less give when you walk around? Yeah, because when you walk into the regular ground.
I look at turf today and I just say it's really just carpet. It really is just like carpet on concrete. That's really all it is.
Yeah. Especially the new turf, like when I was playing football and stuff like that, and then when they used to open up the new facilities for the team, the turf was it hurt when you fell.
Right.
It hurt.
Yeah, it's just carpet on concrete.
so
all it is. And they put those little black balls.
Yeah.
So when you step,
awful.
like you're not going into the ground. You're going. So that's why they have like at least pressure points.
When I played on turf, way before you guys time, it was a lot of that. It felt like you were walking on a mattress, really, like underneath the thing.